The place you are going, the sanctuary place, a lot of people there have traveled roads just as hard as yours. They will know what you have done and what you have yet to do. They will help you be patient. They will help you not do and teach you how to take time. They have been lost themselves and are still finding themselves and know a lot about all of that. Well, we travel to what might become your new home. There is no need to talk unless you want to talk. Rest, daydream, eat good food, get better. If you have night visitors, share that or don't share that. There isn't just one way to do this finding yourself. There's just your way, your truth, your dreams. Remember, though, none of this we have to do alone. That's why we are on earth and in same time together, to learn to share and be good company. One night, just before the whole crowd, the new people and the sanctuary people that had come to greet them got back to sanctuary, Ryder spoke to the whole group. Some of the mercenaries were alive when I did the killing field ritual work. We fought, I won. A couple didn't die right away, and I helped them be talkative. They told me a really scary story. The RV people weren't moving north looking for us. They were running. Something was coming toward them from further south. Not in a couple of weeks, but surely in a half a year at the earliest. It was dark, something connected to before-time drug gangs and ancient Toltec sacrificial rites. Thousands and thousands of people needing food and water and fleeing the growing heat of the warming. Like a mad army of locusts stripping bare all the land that it crosses over. My guess is we have to abandon sanctuary and move further north, much further. My other guess is the old man teller of stories knows something about where to move to. Some of his stories in sanctuary hint at this. I remember in one of the stories there was this place, in northern Oregon and southern Washington, where 4 now active volcanoes made a geographical cross, some place where magic might come to rule one day. I'm going back to the killing field in a few days. Could use some help. I want to turn it into a warning barrier like on our dusty road. Not exactly the same, but something that might give a pause to the locusts, get their attention and make them think about where they are going and if they really want to get there. Tom and Jerry went with her, and a couple of dozen others from sanctuary. Veterans, people who knew how to make IEDs and such, bombs and traps, both men and women. Tough folks, determined folks. Angel wanted to go, but Racy had come down with the sanctuary people and told him that if he went he would die, and she didn't want him to die. He looked to Ryder and to tell her of stories, and they both nodded. Made him mad, though, made him feel impotent. That night Gabriel, who had come down also, took Angel by the hand, and with a blanket they went away from the camp and into the woods. "Time to start to teach you how to be a true man," she said. She was 20 years older than he was and full of surprises. When Racy saw them come back to camp in the morning, she told Angel, "Might be time for you to get a new tattoo, something with a grin like the one running all over your usually sour face." When everyone got back to sanctuary, there was a lot of sadness and anger over the idea that they had to pick up and move. So much effort and life had been invested, and the community was torn into smaller groups, each thinking they knew best what to do, including some who were planning on not leaving. The new people, the survivors of the RV debacle, didn't know what to make of it. Who could blame them? The chaos of the hard time had made it once more into the souls of sanctuary folk, and their hard-won idyllic life was crumbling. It was as if some kind of vacation from madness was over, and now it was time to once more enter into the struggle with cultural and individual insanity. All kinds of arguments came and went, including some violence. Finally, the Star Children called a community meeting, and that united action, rather unfamiliar and unexpected, started to sober people up. The Star Children requested a feast and a festival as well. "Whatever happening, it's time to party," sang Racy as she danced and twirled through the community for 3 days, never seeming to stop or sleep. The mood of everyone changed, and the Star Children seemed behind it. The flaring of tempers subsided, work set aside was started up again. People went to the bathhouses, clothes were cleaned, and even some new fashions appeared. The Star Children began making remarkable masks, handing them out to everyone. Each mask was individual. The festival didn't start at a particular time, it just sort of grew. Everyone was slowly being caught up in it, and food that maybe needed to be eaten and not saved or abandoned if they fled was turned into fancy dishes. People who ordered liquor gave it up. Some people started giving presents. The folk from the RV would wake up in the morning to baskets of bright-colored new outfits in their rooms. The Star Children promised a drama one night to come, a play, they said. Then Tom and Jerry and the folks who had gone to lay a delaying maze in the path of locusts got back. Rider and horse and pack were not with them. For several hours the party mood broke. It had had a quality of mania, of excessive fake celebration to cover over the anger and the sadness. Angel and Gabrielle were now a couple, and brought some folding chairs so as to sit together at the huge community meeting that was called by Tom and Jerry, where they would tell the story that night and might or might not answer everyone's burning question. Where was Ryder? The story was more strange than expected, and Ryder had been a lot strange for years. Tom spoke. The night we were done laying the traps and the IEDs and stuff, we had a little party, because the next day we were going north, coming home here at any rate. It was a full moon with a clear sky. The smell of rotten decay was mostly gone. Fires we had set up and help from carrion eaters had pretty much cleaned the area up. Ryder had been packing all day, and I noticed she was packing odd, loading up horse as if she wasn't going to ride her. She made a travois, too, one of those two-pole things a horse can drag in order to carry extra stuff, and she made smaller ones for the pack. We didn't ask questions. You know how it is with her. When she wants to tell you something, she tells you. Otherwise, no point to ask. She packed food and water and feed grains and other practical stuff. No weapons, though. She'd broken her swords and thrown away her guns. You must have heard about that already. Could have picked up all kinds to replace, just laying everywhere on the ground, but she didn't. We were eating around a campfire when she walked up naked as the day she was born, and threw the dress Obama had given her, plus her new regular work duds, on the fire. I'll try to say it as exactly as she said it to us. Going south, she said. Going to be a goddess to some sorry folks. They need me to help transform the locust thing into something better. Might not work, though. Serious bad people with them, magic people, dangerous people. Might be like a war. I dream of being crucified. The tree people and the rock people and the four-legged and the winged people, they are all with me. I won't be alone. The thunder and lightning folk, too, the storm people, they will try to watch my back. Still the dark ones carry the bomb and some other stuff, some stuff the old science didn't know was possible. Got to try to stop them. If not stop them, at least mess with their heads a little bit, make their schemes have holes and weaknesses. Don't be sad. It's why I was born in this time. With you, I was just getting ready for this, learning, practicing for this. Love each other if you can. That was the last thing she said. She turned around and walked away. Horse and pack followed her south and into the night. We were basically speechless. I mostly still am. It's one of those things that makes complete sense at the same time. It makes you crazy just to know it happens. Silence settled over the community fire. No one spoke or moved until the Star Children got up and, wearing their personal masks, made their play. It was all mime, all silent. Over the next days the community talked. The story the Star Children told was about them splitting up and traveling different paths. Not everyone would go to the same place. Most would eventually get to the new sanctuary, up north in the magic place where the volcano cross was. Teller of stories told us the names of the mountains that were now active volcanoes, each connected to one of the four directions. In the south, Mount Hood. To the north, Mount Rainier. To the west, Mount St. Helens. And to the east, Mount Adams. A long discussion was had about what to do with the physical structures of Sanctuary South, as it was now being called. Some folks wanted to destroy it and others wanted to leave it behind. Some of that was settled when Hartmender Smith spoke at one of the community fires and announced he was staying. Some people should not be moved, he said, and with some grace from the mystery this home might survive in some way. Once that was in the air, the Star Children started planting various kinds of ivy everywhere. They didn't explain what they were up to, but soon others caught on. Nature was being evoked to perhaps hide Sanctuary South. Some others did smash certain things and said that if the place looked like a ruin, it might be a good idea in case some few wanted to try to continue to live there. The road to the killing field was wrecked. If someone came from that direction, all they would find was rusted-out cars and other debris common to almost everywhere else. Explosives were used to make it look like some kind of war had taken place several years ago. As different groups got ready to leave, the first ones were ready in a couple of months' time. The wealth of Sanctuary South was divided up. Cars, ultralights, glass and pottery works, tools, and knowledge, the library duplicated. If it could be moved and packed, it was. Of course the animals, the sheep and the goats and the cows and the chickens and the horses and the dogs and the cats and the pet birds and the trained falcons and other fauna were spread out among all. Seeds, of course, all kinds of seeds and plant cuttings and such. If people got heated up over who was to have what, usually one of the Star Children or teller of stories or Hartmender Smith would show up and help resolve conflict. It was hard. Leave-takings on such a scale could never be easy. On such a scale. People with different skills organized themselves into what they called guilds. They spread their knowledge around. Warriors and weavers and healers and teachers and veterinarians, they all made sure that every group had someone who knew stuff. Strange things happened. For example, every time there was a big group leaving, wolves came to the nearby hills and sang. Birds, too, during the day and night, collected and flew nearby. Crows especially, and ravens. Once in a while larger animals that the community had known were out there and mostly had not hunted showed themselves at a distance as if saying goodbye. Even the weather seemed to cooperate. Nothing extreme, nothing unusual. Rain, sun, snow, clouds, wind, all mild and normal. The ivy planted by the Star Children grew at a furious rate, for reasons no one could explain other than it seemed to be needed. The last groups to leave noticed that you had to be far outside the town to even know it was there. At the end, when no one else was going to leave, there was only about 36 folk, all clustered around the House of Graceful Souls. Hartmender Smith, of course, plus Angel and Gabrielle, and of course Racy. A couple of dogs, some chickens, and other food sources. A deep winter had come. There was plenty of firewood and stored food. The snows were soft and fluffy. The House of Graceful Souls could be lived in without anyone having to go outside. On Christmas Day the pack showed up, seemingly investigating the status of things. They wandered about the town, nosing into every nook and cranny. They slept in the house for a few days, next to people. Then one morning they were gone. A few years later no one was left alive. A serious investigation, knowing where to look, might have found some graves, one of which had the name Hartmender Smith on it. Nothing for Angel or Gabriel or Racy. Like the rest of Sanctuary South, they were now one with the wind.